Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Visionary Fiction Alliance author interview series with your host, moi, Aaron Yeagle. And today we have a very special guest who is the previous host to the Visionary Fiction author interview series, Brad Swift. Welcome, Brad.
Welcome to you as well. It's so great to be here on the other end of the camera, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you get to be the first in the series of the new series of the author interview series, and we've switched places today with Brad Swift. Let me give you a little introduction about Brad. He's been a member of the Visionary Fiction Alliance for the last 3 or so years. He was fairly active on the committee. He has been the host of this series for a number of great interviews. I suggest you visit our YouTube channel to see and view the great interviews he did. Now, Brad has written a god-awful number of books. He sold his veterinary practice in 1989 so that he could focus his efforts on something a little more intellectual, a little more personal, where he and his wife were co-founders of the Life on Purpose Institute. He wrote a Life on Purpose series, and he has the award-nominated Life on Purpose: 6 Passages to an Inspired Life. He's also author of the Zack Bates Eco Adventure series, which is a young adult visionary fiction series that is going gangbusters right now due to some serious events that he's holding. So that's what I have to say about Brad. What do you have to say about yourself?
How many hours do we have? No, I'll just say that since taking on the events that we'll talk more about, the Zack Bates Eco Adventure read-ups, I am more excited and enthusiastic about my writing career than I've probably been since, those late 1980s when I, would get up early in the morning, an hour or two before I had to be in my clinic to write. I'm just thrilled to be able to connect so personally with the kids and their parents, through the read-ups itself.
Nice. So you started off this series asking a kind of important question because it varies from person to person, but the core is always true. What is visionary fiction?
It is a great question, even if I did come up with it originally myself. And there are, what I like about it is because it is kind of an open-ended question without just, one answer. I think for myself, where I came from, even before I knew there was a Visionary Fiction Alliance, I think I'm like a lot of visionary fiction enthusiasts. I didn't know that visionary fiction existed until I had written a book and I started looking at, well, it's not fantasy, it's not science fiction, it's a little bit of both, but not that. And finally, it's like, going on the internet, trying to find out, well, what genre would I put this in? I actually discovered visionary fiction and the Visionary Fiction Alliance that way. So for me, I would say first and foremost, visionary fiction must entertain. It must engage the reader so that they'll finish the book. But then in the process of entertaining and engaging the reader, it also needs to inspire them. It needs to leave them thinking a bit about their own lives and maybe creating some new possibilities in that life. Particularly, I think, again, to be the purest forms of visionary fiction will be about transformation and about our humanity, consciousness raising, increasing the consciousness and awareness of what it is to be a human being. If you can accomplish most of that, I think you've got a great visionary fiction, book in front of you.
Yeah. I've certainly been inspired by your books and those of a lot of the members of the Alliance. All very different, but so uh, awakening in a way,
Yeah.
taking me along a different path. I felt that way with science fiction, but it's different with visionary fiction. So,
Yeah.
and you have the young adult series, the Zack Bates Eco Adventure. How did you translate visionary fiction that you've been writing for adults into something for young adults and children? Is it different? How different would it be?
Yeah, I think it is a bit, different. I think, some of the more in-depth intellectual investigations that, I've done, like with, Babel is one of what I consider one of my visionary fiction. And even though it is about a young boy, and I would say it would definitely fall in the kind of the, something that young adults would enjoy. It is really talking about the raising of the consciousness of the planet and the universe itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit heady for a middle grade student.
Yeah.
So the visionary fiction aspects of the Zack Bates series is really about how we as part of humanity can really make a difference with the rest of the planet. That's why I call it, eco adventure. It also incorporates a lot of my background and my own love. I've been a animal lover. I think I have a higher affinity for animals than I do for most people. And certainly my veterinary background would reflect that. But it really is about how the young people of this planet can and do make a difference. And the focus for me is, let's make a difference with our other animal friends, that we share this planet with. In the first book, it really focuses on the kind of the big picture as Zack goes about, saving or at least starting to, take a stand for the animal kingdom. In my third book, Ghost Elephant, is really all about, the plight of our elephant population in Africa and how poachers are just just destroying it. And it took me about 2 years from the time I decided I wanted to write about elephants to find a way to write about it that could be, again, engaging for the young audience while at the same time leaving them with, with a possibility that, hey, we need to take some action here.
Nice. So you mentioned your first book, which is Dominion Overall. Tell us a little bit about Zack Bates. He's the hero of the series. So what makes him special enough, or does he discover his specialness later on? Tell us a little bit about Zack.
Yeah, I think Zack's probably me at about that age level. He's not comfortable in his own skin yet. He's very shy, particularly around girls his own age. And at the same time, the two things that he most loves and most, embraces is his love for animals. He owns his own little family zoo that he, is responsible for. It's, basically, maybe a guinea pig and some, rabbits and, things of that nature. And he believes in magic, and so that marriage of magic and animals is part of the theme itself. And again, I hope that he's continuing to kind of grow in his own comfort with himself and his own awareness that he can make a difference, as the books, develop itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds like he could easily translate into a Netflix series or a motion picture,
From your mouth to God's ear and Netflix ears too, I hope so.
So now through I forget when, the first novel is available for free.
Yes. Yes.
Until when?
Well, until we give away at least 1,000 copies of either the ebook and or the audio book. And truth of the matter is, we'd love to give away 10,000 copies.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
the reason we're giving it away is we want to engage the audience, the kids and their parents, and that's why we're doing the read ups, which we can talk about. But we wanted to be able to provide them with the material to read. And of course, if they like the first book, hopefully they'll pick up, book number 2 and book number 3. And as you can see kind of behind me here, I'm working on the next one, Junkyard Dogs, is the working title. I hope to have that finished by the end of this year. And my goal for 2021 is to write 3 more novels, in the series.
Wow. That's good. That's it. So viewers, the challenge has been laid. I'm going to put the URL somewhere down here for you to go to Google Play and download to your heart's content the ebook or the audiobook. 1,000 units, up to 10,000 units. The challenge has been laid, dear viewers.
Yeah. And actually, one of the simplest way they can go to get the information is at my website at wbradfordswift.com. And when on the homepage there, you can join and become one of the Zack Bates Eco Adventure team members and get the books for free that way as well.
Oh, nice. So I will also put all those links both here in the video and at the end so that you have a chance to at your leisure go get those and join the group. Now, another thing that you're doing is you are doing read-ups of Zack Bates Eco Adventures so that people can be introduced to Zack Bates and the characters he meets along the way. So tell us a little bit about how those have been going. That's a Facebook Live event?
We do it both on Facebook Live and we do it as a Zoom live interactive event.
Okay.
So this came from a couple of different places. One is I have to kind of give you a little background about my own travels to becoming a writer. There was a pivotal time when I was about to enter the 4th grade. And I had been moved, my family moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. My dad had died a couple of years before that. We were still kind of reshaping our life. We moved to Raleigh, and my brother immediately found friends to go play with, leaving me by myself with Mom, who's trying to kind of set up the household. And I would beg her to come out and play with me. And lucky for both of us, our next door neighbor, who turned out to be a children's librarian, heard my pleas and took pity on my mom, probably mostly, and brought home a stack of books hand selected for a boy my age.
Wow.
And Mrs. Crabtree was her name. She was a marvelous lady. And so every time I would plead with my mom to come out and play, she would point to the books and say, why don't you pick up one of those and try that? And at first I'm like, wait a minute, it's summertime. Why would I want to read a book? And finally, because she wouldn't come out and play with me until I at least gave it a try, I picked one up. And then I picked up the next one. And then I picked up the next one. And they were all, one was better than the next one. And, it was done. I was what I now call a joyful lifelong reader. And so part of the reason we started the Zack Bates Eco Adventure read-ups is I want to inspire as many young people as possible to become joyful lifelong readers by introducing them and encourage them to read for the pure pleasure of it. Fiction, nonfiction, whatever they choose, but read because it's so pleasurable to read itself. And it has a lot of benefits as well. So the read-ups is one way to introduce this idea to both them and their parents, and hopefully to help encourage them to start reading together.
Nice, nice. So this happens Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m.
7 to 8
Yeah,
p.m.
don't come at 8. You'll be getting to the tail end of it. Come at 7. Yeah.
So 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Viewers, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
On Tuesday. However, and now that we're entering turkey season and Santa Claus horrors, you are doing a special set of read-ups with your friend, Mr. Fife, Ben
Yes.
Fife.
Ben Fife.
So tell us a little bit about that special event.
Well, Ben and I got connected because I wanted to produce, start producing audiobooks. And he has actually produced all 3 of the current books available on the Zack Bates series. And he's amazing. He has such different, voices, intonations, and, different characters, voices. And so one of his favorite books is, the Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. And so he suggested, well, why don't we do that as a special here, at Christmas time? And then he went on to tell me, he said, for the past 6 or 7 years, he's read that every year to his family. And he has 6 kids, so he's got a pretty sizable family. And it was actually his reading that, each year that convinced him he wanted to become a professional audiobook narrator.
Oh, nice.
Which he now is. This past year, he went, full time. So he will be there. I'll be there kind of as the host with the most, I guess, the MC, and he'll be doing, he won't necessarily read the whole book, but he also has it on SoundCloud. So any aspects of it that we don't get to, we'll point them to that as well. So we'll be doing 3 parts on that, starting on December the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. Again, from 7 to 8, p.m. So we really encourage families to come and enjoy it, get into the holiday season, and do it safely, socially distancing, through Zoom and Facebook Live.
Cool. Well, that sounds very, very interesting. I know I'll be there.
Good.
So again, viewers, here's a call to action. This is a great opportunity to get your family involved with Ben Fife's reading of The Christmas Carol. So we have the read-up hours for Zack Bates Eco Hour. We have the special offer for the free first book. And your next book is Junkyard Dogs. When do you think you're going to finish it in December? Will be released in?
I'm thinking our target, and we'll see if we meet it. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit behind, but pretty close. Is to have it completed and maybe even the audiobook available by the end of the year, and certainly in the first in January at the very latest itself. The story idea. And this is, again, one of the side benefits, one of the bonuses that I didn't necessarily expect with the read-ups. Part of the story idea came from one of our first read-ups. One of the questions I asked the kids each time is, if you went on a mission with the Zack Bates Eco Adventure team, in other words, if you joined Zack and Rake-It, the last living magic cat, and her companion, the flying dog named Samson, if you went with them on a mission, what mission would you want to go on? What animals of the world would you want to benefit and help? And so one of the girls on there suggested they thought we should have a book or a story about a person who's not been taking good care of dogs or cats, and that they be helped that way. And then at the same time, I got to close a couple of things before my computer starts talking to me here. And at the same time, before the end of the story, that person who's been not treating his pets correctly is redeemed and learns the error of his ways.
Oh, nice.
And that idea brought forth, I was a freelance journalist for a number of years before I started writing books. And I remembered a story about a woman named Shitra Babosda, who in Harlem, she's from Sri Lanka, she's a Buddhist. She discovered that there were these, I think she actually coined the term junkyard dogs, these dogs that were being basically used as living burglar alarms to protect the properties in the area, but they were not being taken care of.
Mm.
So I remembered that article that I interviewed her about, and this was probably 20 years ago. And so I've combined those two into the story of junkyard dogs. And Sheeta and I spoke fairly recently, and she continues. She has actually saved thousands of dogs from being
Wow.
abused in this way, and
Wow.
also cats. So the book will also talk about, and maybe in the title, it may be junkyard dogs and mouser cats, because again, cats are sometimes used as mousers, and again, it'd be fine to do that, but they're not well taken care of.
Right, right. So, well, that's an amazing story, both that you remembered something 20 years ago with such detail, and that you were still connected with her to, reconnect with her, and that the core idea came from one of your listeners and participants in the read up.
Yes.
I mean, that to me, that is like the core of visionary fiction, where the universe or events coalesce to create an upliftment or a rising of consciousness of an event out of just the general stuff of life into something as visionary as a novel. I mean,
Yeah. And it's one of the things I most love about being a writer, that everything in my life is possible, fodder for the meal itself. Again, if you look back up here, right about there, you see a kind of a stuffed animal, koala bear looking thing. That's actually a backpack that I bought at Steamboat Springs 30 more years ago.
wow.
And as I'm writing Junkyard Dogs, I started out with one of the small characters, one of the young girl who's a street smart waif, and she's carrying a teddy bear to begin with, and then I realized, no, it's not a teddy bear; it's a koala bear that's actually a backpack, and so koala up there is going to be in the book as well.
Yeah. Further proof that all fiction is in truth reality, stated a little differently.
Stirred up a little bit, yes.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm thinking I would like to end by giving you an opportunity to tell the world something that you've learned through visionary fiction.
That's a good question. I think probably the lesson that I continue to learn is, visionary fiction for me is about transformation, about our collective transformation, and also that our transformation begins at the individual level, and it's never done. I'm a very young looking, 70 plus or here. I say that
Out.
somewhat tongue in cheek. And I'm very clear. My transformation is far from over. I will continue to be engaged in, what's next for the planet. How can we make a difference? How can we create a planet that we can all be proud of? The transformation will never end until I'm on to whatever's next. And I'm not even sure it ends then.
Wow. Well, that's very, very cool. And I agree. I mean, the time I've spent with you on this visionary adventure is been enlightening and extremely joyful and happy. Your attitude is very exuberant, and I think that brings energy into the room, and you express it through your books. So I really appreciate the fact that you've allowed me this time to interview you. You get to be my first one. And, you know, had to do the master. So I'm very happy at that. So at the end of this video, I will have all the links that we've talked about. They'll also be in the description of the video on our YouTube channel for the Visionary Fiction Alliance. Thank you so much, Brad, for encouraging me and helping me on this first very nervous event. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.